Hello, everyone. This roundtable discussion is for the UMGC IT Project Management Final Exam for July 29th, 2025. My name is Airielle Thomas, and thank you for joining today's roundtable discussion on information technology. As we continue to integrate technology into nearly every facet of our lives, understanding the key concepts behind information systems is essential. I'll be walking us through the core topics, and I encourage everyone to contribute their thoughts and experiences. Let's dive in. So, on the agenda for this discussion, we'll be going through some of the foundations of information technology. We'll be discussing emerging technologies, security, and ethical challenges. We'll summarize this information and then open the floor for final questions and comments. So, what is information technology? To begin, we're going to explore the concepts of information systems. Information systems are a combination of technology, people, and processes that help collect, process, store, and distribute information. These systems enable organizations to make informed decisions, manage operations, and drive growth. Can anyone share examples of information systems they use in their professional or personal life?
Uh, is using information systems is something like Googling, um, Googling something on my phone. Is that something like an information system?
Yes, that can be an information system. You're using some sort of software to gain information. So yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Um, would using a system that's managed for, meant for sale, sales and retail, would that count as information systems or is it something completely different?
Yes, that can count as information systems because you're using a software that has a particular function. Well, it was designed in mind with a particular function and it's on a piece of hardware. So we're assuming it's on a computer. So yeah, that is a way you can use information systems. Okay. We're going to move on to the next slide. We're going to talk about hardware versus software and data. So hardware refers to the physical components of a computer system, like the CPU, the monitor, storage devices, and keyboards, things that you can feel and touch. Software consists of programs that run on the hardware, like operating systems or applications. The data is the raw material that software processes and turns into useful information. So, how do you see the relationship between these three components in your day-to-day lives?
Well,
Oh,
oh,
excuse me.
oh, you can go ahead, Adriana.
I, I think I would see them in a laptop altogether at once because the laptop is a bunch of cookies and data and stuff, right? From the internet and Wi-Fi and other things. Would that count?
So, yes, I see where you're going with that. So, your laptop is a great example because the device itself is the hardware, and then the software is the programs used to run it. So, think like Windows versus Mac. And the software that you use when you're working on your school projects. So Microsoft Office, using, even playing video games on your computer. That's a really good example.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to speak on the value that information technology brings. IT is important to enhancing productivity, improving decision making, and streamlining business operations. From managing databases to enabling communication, IT enables businesses to stay competitive in a rapidly evolving market. How has IT added value to your organization or personal life?
Well, I Well, IT helps me organize some files I would need for career opportunities such as customer service or retail. I or both because I separate the files all together, and they also teach me some things about the technology used for the laptops or a computer, depending on which company makes them.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have any examples they would like to share?
I don't really have an example. I just have a quick question. Does AI such as like Chat GPT count as just an emerging technology in this case for IT that
Uh,
people can use?
Yes, artificial intelligence is an emerging technology. It's fairly new and it's continuously developing. So yes, it's one of many emerging technologies. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
And speaking of emerging technologies, that is our next section. So we're in an exciting period of rapid technological advancement with several emerging technologies that are reshaping industries. We're going to take a closer look at a few of these. Some of the key future trends emerging include investments in e-commerce, mobile devices, and autonomy. For example, e-commerce has transformed shopping habits, making it more convenient for consumers and businesses alike. How have you seen e-commerce evolve, especially with the integration of AI and machine learning?
Well, I've seen it evolve in that um AI has basically managed to find out exactly what I want for the most part. It saves exactly what items I normally try to find on like certain websites like Amazon or on places like DoorDash and just automatically recommends it to me when I try to look for those places or tries to find substitutes or other replacement items for me. So, and it tries to either shift it me towards a certain direction when I'm shopping on those sites to try to get those items. So AI tries to like try to trend me towards like certain directions based on what I buy.
Okay, that is a very good example. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is AI taking over for the search engine?
Oh, that is a very good question. To an ex I mean, from a personal perspective, to an extent, it is. I think it simplifies the process. So traditionally, when you use a search engine, when you go on Google or Bing and you search, usually you kind of have to do some of the legwork, right? So you got to go through, take a look at your sources, go through the information to find what you need and to make sure it's relevant to whatever you're searching. With AI, it enhances these activities. So instead of you having to do all that, AI can break it down for you and lead you right to where you need to be. Good question.
I also have another question as well.
Mhm.
Um, for small businesses that are in the e-commerce business, how do they how would they differ from a bigger company that has the same product or
Oh,
the
that's good.
same?
Like with the use of information technology.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I think the key would be personalized customer experiences. Like similar to what Anthony mentioned, how AI targets what he wants or needs to him. AI-driven recommendations make a difference in retaining customers because it's showing them what they want or based off of historical data, what AI thinks they want. So it gives businesses that use it a competitive advantage. Were there any other questions regarding that section? Okay, I guess we will continue on to discussing Web 2.0. So with Web 2.0, it's introduced a new era of interactive and collaborative online experiences. We now have applications that enhance user experiences, build market power, and facilitate the exchange of knowledge. Social networks and blogs have become integral tools in communications. How do you think Web 2.0 has changed the way we interact with information online?
I think it, I think it's mainly based on the customer experience and how they attract different people based on their location or their personality. And it also helps provide idea drafts, like if you can't think of anything or something like that, I think.
Okay, very good example.
I think Web 2.0 has basically, on one hand, allowed for so much data personalization because it uses AI. And I mentioned the Amazon example before with how it uses your personal data and your personal preferences. It uses your personal preferences now to basically filter out your social media and stuff on one hand, but on the other hand, because it uses all your data and stuff, it's gonna be up to how the company decides how to use that data to really properly manage it. So you can have either a good experience with how they use that data, or either a bad experience where if they a company's data could, either be leaked, or depending on how it's, I can't think of the word for it either.
Data breach?
Yeah, data breach, or what's a word for dang, like trying to like control, or like control a website for like users. I can't think
Are
of
you
it.
are you trying to say hack? Like
Or
not hack, but moderate. Okay.
moderate a website like that. It could not just like create a bad experience for users, but it can also like put other people's safety at risk, depending on like how get people manage it. And I could see like both sides on what could potentially happen in the future, depending on what could happen because of how advanced the technology is. I'm sorry I couldn't like spit out that word.
No,
And
that's
it
okay.
sounds confusing. That it's just like the technology is so advanced, especially with how social media is now. It can provide like a lot of really good benefits for people, but at the same time, it's like it's a double-edged sword now for the most part.
I can agree. Thank you for sharing that. So it's interesting that you mentioned some of the security issues that arise in tech with technology, because that's our next section, security and ethical challenges. So as technology advances, we also face new challenges related to security and ethics. Cybersecurity is a growing concern, and issues like data privacy and digital ethics are at the forefront. How should organizations address these challenges while embracing new technologies?
I think it's a really interesting question because on one hand, like I mentioned, I I would really like know the specific technological like securities to put it, but I feel like you would have to be able to try and put a user's data in the most secure way possible, or you would just have some nightmare scenario where if someone's personal information were to be leaked, it could just be a complete disaster. Like recently, I don't know if you heard of this, there was something called the T app that was
Yes.
really popular, and it turned out they didn't encrypt their data at all, and it was incredibly easy to hack. And now more than a million users DMs and their IDs, which like their legal IDs, which was required to even enter the app because they had to verify it if you were a woman or not, were actually now leaked all over the internet. So I feel like you have to have some sort of like encryption or some strong security in order to make sure that users are protected, did and have some sort of good moderation system in order to protect your users, because if you aren't protected, then you could potentially have a problem where your user safety is going to be damaged, and you obviously don't want that because lives could potentially be in danger.
Okay, understood. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. And with this conversation, we're going to move on to wireless technology, because this is has a big connection to security and issues in information technology. There are several types of wireless transmission, including infrared and radio transmission. Wireless technology offers convenience, but can be more expensive than wired alternatives. And there are also safety risks associated with wireless technology that are more prevalent with wireless technology and compared to wired technology. So, what are your thoughts on the trade-offs between wireless and wired technology in terms of cost, reliability, and performance?
I guess I'll go again. Well, I'll just start with this first question: is wired technology more expensive than wireless technology?
Is
Than wireless technology, excuse me.
is wired technology more expensive than wireless?
Yeah.
It it can be, considering on the technology in question, because it takes more hardware, it takes different materials. It tends to take more expensive materials to make a wireless piece of technology and compare it to something wired.
But wireless is more convenient because you can carry it around everywhere you want to go, basically,
Are you talking
right?
about wireless or wired?
I'm talking about wireless, like cell
Like your phone,
phones.
like a tablet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You just carry it around. If it was a computer, you have to sit there with it.
Yeah. But I mean, with wireless though, you can it's just wireless, right? You don't have to do anything. You can just connect it anywhere, but
But
right?
you're saying
Yeah.
wireless is more expensive?
Wireless can be more expensive because the technology, for one, when you talk about manufacturing, the technology used to, the materials, excuse me, used to create it, it takes a little more. They're more delicate. The material can, in some instances, is a little more rare in comparison to what's used to make wired technology.
Okay. Isn't wireless more, it affects your health more? Like the earplugs, the earbuds, and your brain?
Some people think that, but I have seen studies that prove that that's not the case.
Okay.
I think it really is just like a case by case scenario because wireless is obviously great, but that's only if you can get the signal. Both wired technology, wired if you being able to connect to a wire is great because it's just right there. If you're like a rural area, excuse me, that just having the ability to just connect to a wire easily, that is just so much more convenient than just hoping that you have a signal somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
So
So
wireless is better connected. I mean, wired is better connected.
yeah, it's better.
Okay.
I feel like it could be better connected than wireless because I mean it just depends on like where you're at basically.
Okay. And what about reliability and performance? Which one do you think is better between the two?
Wired.
It's
I
probably
feel
wired.
wired.
Wired. Like
Wired.
I,
Okay.
I I play video games all the time. It's like wired has always been better experience every time.
And it depends on your job. They tell you not to use the wireless. Depends on where you
Yeah,
work. And you're working from
it's
home
just it's
because of
too
data
much
breaches
stuff
and
going
stuff.
on
Yeah.
with wireless.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. And well, with that being said, that brings us to the end of our presentation. I want to thank you all for your insights. Um, it's clear that information technology continues to evolve and shape our world in profound ways. As we look to the future, it's important to stay informed about the latest trends and consider the ethical implications of these advancements. I'd like to open the floor for any final questions or comments. Is there anything anyone would like to add?
I just want to say this was a really good presentation, and my final little mini question before we end this is, what's your general thoughts on AI potentially being the main driver for information systems in like the next decade?
I think AI is it can be a great tool. It has potential to be a great tool, but I do think that there needs to be more regulation, and to an extent, it does need to be stopped because it's already demonstrated its capability to uh, push out false information and cause an uproar. So I think it'll be a great tool if it's used properly. If it can be get if they can get it under control, it'll be really great.
I think AI is going to be like our robot.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Great job.
Okay, well, thank you all for participating in this discussion, and you all have a wonderful day.